talks about how uncomfortable it is to do things in the beginning, like to be a beginner. It's not fun, it's not comfortable, and it sucks, but you have to start somewhere in anything. So this is me, hi, doing it again. I'm starting. If you have been watching, maybe now, maybe in 5 years, whoever and whenever you're watching this is me being in integrity with my word and doing things that are not always comfortable for me, especially when I don't want to do it. I was about to not record. I had made a promise to myself that I was going to record at least 4 to 5 times a week. Even just this week. This is my first week recording YouTube videos. So I just want to get the ball going. And it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be messy, and it's going to be awkward and weird, and that doesn't matter. I'm speaking to myself, and I'm also speaking to whoever it is that is starting their thing, whatever it is, because it's so easy to be on social media and look at the people you're influenced by or impacted by or that you look up to and think that can never be me, or I have such a long way to get there, and all these things. And that might be somewhat true, but what is that thought really helping you in? I've been there for years, and it still comes up for me where I'm like, oh my God, I'll never be like this person, or I'll never have that. And I'm like, I actually cancel that thought, and I cancel that statement over myself, and I have to actually put the action behind my desire, my prayer, my goal, and my dreams. So this is it. And it's at first awkward, and it's uncomfortable. It feels weird, but at some point it won't, just like anything, just like when we were learning how to walk, when we were babies. I'm sure it was uncomfortable for us. I'm sure it was all the things, but we got it. So this is my 3rd YouTube video, and I'm just doing it for me. And yeah. And what I wanted to talk about today for a moment is emotions. I have big emotions. I can feel very, very deeply, and I feel like that's a superpower, and it's a gift. And I've also really struggled with emotions, from PTSD to depressive emotions to high anxiety. I'm a feeler. I'm a feeler, and I'm a seer, and through my mental health journey, I really struggled with knowing how to regulate my nervous system and my own emotions. And I can really say that after years of just actively seeking ways to better understand my triggers and my body and my cycle and my emotions, I have become just really regulated. And I think that's the goal. And that's my desire, my intention, my dream, is to help people understand that the emotions that they feel are not their enemies. They're not these big, scary things that are trying to haunt them. They're messengers. They're internal messengers from either the past or things happening in this current moment. And, I have so much grace and empathy for the journey, but being in the clinical setting and a mental health coach for the last 4 years, I've just seen people in the same kind of loop, thinking that something is wrong with them because they feel a lot of anxiety or they feel depression. And they've also become really identified with the labels that they've been given through the medical model or the psychiatric model, getting prescribed medications and being told that they're this or that, or clinically depressed, or what else? All these different labels. And, when I look at a patient and I'm reading their story before I go and speak to them, I don't see the labels. That means nothing to me, because what I believe is, and of course there's certain things, but at the end of the day, I really believe that everyone is just a soul experiencing this human experience, and life is challenging, and God puts certain challenges in our journey, not to break us, but to really, it's an anointing. It's a calling. And if you're not guided in the right way through it, then it can feel like a thorn, or like many thorns that are never ending. So something I really encourage my clients and the patients I work with is to remove their sense of identity to the things that they feel. Like, I am Cheval, and when I feel depressed, I am not depressed. I am Cheval experiencing feelings of depression, and it is my responsibility to dig deep into what it is and then take what it is that I'm feeling and utilize some sort of practice to help myself move through the emotion, right? Even in the word emotion, it's in motion. It's going to pass. We all know that, but we have to help it, and actually be willing to learn what it's saying. Often I hear patients saying like, I don't think I'll ever be happy. I don't think I'll ever feel joy. I don't think I'll ever not be depressed. And I'm like, you really got to be careful of the things you speak over yourself, because life and death are in the power of the tongue. And truly, like it is. And if you believe that, then that's what's going to happen. But if you're just acknowledging that you're struggling and that there is a familiar patterning and loop happening in that, amazing, awareness. But there's things that we can do to shift and to expel the energy and to learn. So for me, whenever I feel depressive emotions or anxious emotions, I get curious. I often feel my feelings. There's some sort of somatic experience that has to happen. I often cry, or I call a friend. I definitely pray. It's always prayer. I always bring it to God. And then I journal, and I just allow myself to have multiple different tools for it to not be a 10 out of 10, that it's completely absorbing my ability to function. And I'm leaning into it, because when I feel depressed about something, it's telling me, hey, something in your current reality and in your current identity and the current things that you are doing in your habits is not getting you to the place that you desire the most. And how much more powerful is that when you realize, oh, this depressive emotion is saying, hey, knock, knock, knock. Something's not aligned. Either how you believe about yourself isn't aligned, how you're living your life, how you're moving, who you're around, everything. It's a completely holistic approach. And there's so much more power in that, because I can change that. Of course, there's certain things happening in my circumstances that I can't change, but I can change how I respond to it. And I can change the type of people I'm around and how I eat and how I treat my body and how I respond to myself. So all I'm saying in all of this is, your emotions are messengers. They are speaking to you. And at times they can feel really big and really loud and really bold and really invasive. But that's probably because you may have been ignoring it for a really long time. Or there's trauma that's trying to leave your body. And of course, I really believe that we can't do it alone. I mean, I have sisters I can call on. I have spiritual mentors. First and foremost, I have God, which I'm so grateful for, because my ability to pray and to give this to the creator of this whole entire universe, everything I feel I could just give my heart to God, is so healing and so freeing. And that's available to any of us. And then, of course, surrounding yourself with good therapists. Like, don't settle on the therapist you're with. Don't settle on the friends that you're with. Have at least one person. And if you don't have that just yet, really look for a therapist that you love. But all I'm saying in all of this is, you're not a victim to your emotions, even though it can feel that way. I get it. I've been there. I have wrestled my demons. I have wrestled with really big emotions and PTSD, and I have felt uncontrollable with my emotions. And that was the greatest calling on my life, to learn how to harness those emotions and utilize it as power, and utilize it as inner wisdom and inner truth. So pay attention to your emotions. Do something today. Carve out a few minutes of the day to just check in and ask yourself, how am I feeling? What's present? Oh, I'm anxious. Okay, what are you anxious about? Dig deep, write it down. Can you validate that within yourself? Can you start to get curious? They're not a disorder. They're not a disorder. It really breaks my heart when I hear people hold on so tightly to their disorder. I don't think that they have something so disordered. I think that there is disorganization in how to navigate it, but I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong. I mean, at least from what I've experienced from being in the coaching in the mental health field for the last 4 years, and I'm going to be pursuing mental health counseling and to be a therapist. And I will always stick by that core belief that nothing is wrong with anyone. Trauma impacts people, trauma impacts the way they see the world and their perception, and those things can change. They may take time, but they can change. So my invitation to anyone listening to this, and to myself too, is to remember to disidentify from big feelings, from traumas that happen, and from circumstances. They don't make up who we are. And our emotions can be our teachers, our guides, and our friends, especially when we go inward and we validate them and we're kind and empathetic. And we utilize tools and we utilize community, and we become active participants in our journey, digging deep and getting curious and reading books and surrounding yourself with things that lift you up and empower you and educate you rather than the other, and then just staying stuck. No, we gotta move it. We gotta move it. We gotta move it. We gotta move it. Anyway, I just wanted to share that on my heart because it's something that I'm so passionate about. Let's liberate ourselves from the stories that something is wrong, and let's just re-identify with, wow, little glitch, with wow, what if nothing is wrong with me? And what if I can actually free myself from leaning in? So I hope that you can pray. I hope that you can find a good therapist. I hope that you can move your body, that you can nourish your body, that you can get outside. It's a truly holistic approach. It's a lifestyle way of living. Thank you for listening.